Hello, Ria. How are you doing? My name is Mr. Heave. Welcome to my integrated math class. Hopefully, this will all make sense. It probably won't, so feel free to email me or get in touch with me whatever way you see best fits whatever you'd like. So this is called integrated math, but really it's just a coding class with Python. The assignments that I'm putting into Google Classroom right now are assuming that you've been in my class since January, and of course you haven't. So I do not expect you to do the daily assignments. They're for people who understand a little bit about Python. So what we're going to do here is explain how this class would have worked if you would have came in during the middle of the year like you are, but during a normal classroom. So this class is a class that goes at its own pace. So it's actually a pretty good classroom for coming in midway because you don't need to know anything in the class to start off. So I start this class assuming nobody knows anything about Python. So if you know nothing, you're in the perfect spot. You're doing great. So if you go to Google Classroom and click on classwork up here, and this stuff, week 1, week 2, week 3, this is distance learning stuff. Forget about that for now. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but forget about that for right now. And scroll down until you get to beginning chapters. This is where I want you to start. So if you click on Chapter 1, Python Basics, you'll see it opens up. And there's 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and so on. And those are the different documents that you're going to use to learn throughout the class. So 1.1, I clicked on it, but I actually probably care the least about 1.1. 1.1 is the intro. In our classroom, if we ever go back to class, who knows about that, but we use these small little computers called a Raspberry Pi. They're very awesome, very cool to code with. However, you don't have one. I'm assuming you don't have one. If you have one, great, whatever. But assuming you don't have one, you're probably going to code on a PC using Windows, Mac, or Linux, or you're going to have a Chromebook. Now, I'll talk about I'll talk about how to code depending on which one you have a little bit later. But first off, the class intro is my computer's super slow, so we got to deal with that. I'm going to pause this and get a couple things loaded up. All right, now that this is up and running, you'll be able to see how this works. So each document has videos to watch. This first one has a ton of videos. They're short, but people take about a day to get through this first document. Usually there's not that many videos in a row. But you'll have videos, and these talk about like setting up the class. These might be pretty much all of these you can forget about and just move on to the next one. So in 1.2, you can see step 15, you watch this video. And then it tells you about like what things you're going to learn in the chapter. And then you move on to calculations and saving variables. And so you watch this video. And then here is an exercise in step 17. Then you copy and paste the information in the answer below it. Then you watch another video, and so on and so on. Read the instructions, and then keep pasting stuff as you go on. As you go through, once you get to the end, it says take a quiz named Chapter 1 Quiz 1, and then the name of it, and then tells you to go on to 1.3 when you're done. So then you go on to 1.3. The quizzes are just slightly below here. These quizzes you can take multiple times until you get them all right, if you wish. They are not designed to trip you up or get you. They're designed to reinforce the things that I want you to know. So you can start at 1.1, go to 1.2, 1.3, all the way up through 1.5. When you're done with 1.5, you can start the project. And so just keep clicking around until you get there, and you're doing great. All right, hopefully that's making sense. Now what we're going to do is move on to the daily assignments. So if I click on this and open one up, it shouldn't make a whole lot of sense to you to do the daily assignments, because that's assuming you know a bunch of Python. So you don't. So what you do is you type in your name Oh, Rias. And then I believe you're in my 4th period. Now you're not doing daily, you're doing the self-paced lessons because you're going to go at your own pace. So we click next, and what unit you're on, you're going to start on chapter 1. And now it says, what step did you start on? Now the first day you do this, whenever you decide to start, you're going to start on step 15. So here you put step 15. That's not 15. There's 15. And then what step did you finish on? So let's say you get to 25. You get to step 25. Now, during the class, I expect my students to do 10 steps a day. Some people do 20. Like on the low end, if someone's down to 6 or 8, I typically push them along, and I talk to them and see what's going on. There's some steps that are a little bit tougher, some that are not as tough. So I have some flexibility depending on where people are at. But I just want people to put in a concerted, just a decent amount of effort. And that's where the self-pace comes. All right. And now this next section is really important. Do you use Thani or Trinket? Now there's a couple different ways that you can code at home. All of my videos use a program called Thani. Thani, I'll get it up here, but Thani is this program where you write the programs on top and you program in the shell. I'll pause this to bring it up. All right, now this is the program Thani, and this is what you would use if you are using a computer that is not a Chromebook. So you would use this like on a Windows, Mac, something that has Linux. Probably you don't have Linux, most people don't. Now, if you want instructions on how to use these, if you come up to the top of your Google Classroom where it says working at home, and you look at this, it tells you how to download Thani and how to get it up and running on your computer. Now, if you do not have one of those computers, that meaning if you are using a Chromebook, if you're using a Chromebook, oh, here, finally it popped up. So these up here are the instructions to use Thani. It's really just this top paragraph that you need to use. Chromebooks, if you're doing Chromebooks, that's this next section here. We use something called Trinket. Now, Trinket looks like this. Now, in the here we have a program. If we run it, it shows up on the right-hand side. But for the first couple chapters, we work in something called the shell. To get there, we click here, and you run, we call it shell, they call it console. They mean the same thing. So you got to click here, go to console, and then you could print out 4 plus 5. Assuming I'm typing 4 plus 5. There we go. And that's going to be one of the first things you do is use this. So if you're looking for it, you go down to console there. So that, where are we at here? So that is where you determine whether you're using Trinket or Thani. And then each day you are going to paste. So if, let's say you have a Chromebook and you're using Trinket. You could use Trinket on another computer. It's just easier to use Thani because that's what I'm using in my videos. If you're using Trinket, I want you to share a link of something that you made that day. So if you don't know how to share a link, I have another video right there on how to share a link, and that will get it done. All right, and then you submit. So each day, we can start this tomorrow or whenever you feel comfortable starting. Just let me know. But each day, I expect each of my students to complete this working at home Google form. But you are going to be working at your own pace, and so just get as far as what seems reasonable in a day, and just keep chipping away at it. And if you have questions, I know you said that Google Meet sounds weird. I get it. It is weird. Whenever a student's in there, they feel generally pretty uncomfortable. It's not a normal interaction. I get that. And especially for meeting somebody. But So you can email me. You can, I'm on my email most of the day. In Google Hangouts, there's a chat feature. You can chat with me if you want a quick response. I'm almost always around. My email is, I would check it hourly, if not much more than that. So let me know if there's you have any questions, and I will try to address any issues you have. All right. Welcome to the class. Take care. Hope I get to meet you sometime.